So this is a movie review for Bad Samaritan. I saw a few days ago. Movie review for Christians. The title, of course, comes from the biblical story of the Good Samaritan. So they're doing a little play on words. And the movie begins with these two Latino guys. I think they're Latino. One was, where was he from? One was actually from another country, a Spanish-speaking country, and he was on a green card. The other was Latino American, and it was based in Portland, Oregon. And so the movie begins. The two Latino guys are basically, they're thieves. They do scams. Anything to get a little bit of cash or things they can sell, or credit cards, stuff like that. And so they're looking for their next big score. And they get this idea. I mean, first of all, I want to comment that I was robbed. My car was robbed once in what they call a smash and dash, where they break your window, grab whatever they can. You know, they're in and out in maybe a minute or two, and then they're gone. I was parked at Dodger Stadium when they did it. So I lost a laptop, but it was an old one. I mean, I was more upset about losing the content, stuff that I had stored on it. But then one thing that even made things even worse, that was about all they stole. I think there were a few dollars or something. They didn't take the credit cards either. Maybe they didn't see them. But then they had to also vandalize my car. They took the battery, the car battery. I don't know, maybe they get a few dollars for it. It wasn't like a new battery, it was an old one, but whatever, they get something for it, I guess. But then on top of that, they had to tear out the fuse box wires. So I had to get it rewired. I couldn't just put a new battery in and drive away. I had to get it towed. And of course, you know, LA mechanics, everything's a big deal. This was really difficult to rewire. I don't know if it really was, but of course they charged me for it as if it was. No mercy from them. So it ended up costing me, you know, $500 about to get it. Oh, and the broken window, that cost another $100. So when I saw the beginning of the movie, I was like, these guys make me sick. They're the worst. They'll steal things, they'll break your window, they'll do whatever they have to do to get something, to make a score, big or small, and they'll tear up your house or car in the process. So I really despise people who do that kind of thing. So I'm thinking, this is a movie about thieves who are eventually going to get caught, I hope. So the movie progresses. The next thing they do, they convince a local restaurant guy to let them work for him as to park the cars, valet service at a fancy Italian restaurant. So they're doing that job, and what they do is, anytime somebody comes up in their car, the two of them working together, because this is a fancy restaurant, they're going to be eating there for probably a couple of hours. So they take the car keys, pretend like they're going to go park it, and they immediately open up the glove compartment and look at the registration, knowing that nobody else will be home, or assuming. They took their whole family. They got the address. They put it on the GPS. They go to the house and they rob it while the people are eating. They come back and give them their car back before they're finished with their meal. And so this happens. They do that one, and then they rob one, but the first one actually turned out to be unsuccessful because they had a dog, like a watchdog, in the house that scared the kid away. These are like young, in their 20s, early 20s. And the next one who comes up is driving a Maserati. He's like a real rich guy, and they have him playing like he's a kind of a rich jerk. And so they don't feel bad about robbing him. And they, so the one of them stays there, the other goes to the house and breaks in. Actually, doesn't even have to break in because he has the keys. Most of them have garage door openers. So he just pushes the garage door opener and uses the key on the car key to open the house as well. He goes into this rich guy's house, and as he goes to various rooms, finds a credit card and activates it. All the while he's talking to his friend who's back at the restaurant, or maintaining contact. And he goes into this weird looking room with a big lock on it. I mean, a lock you don't normally see inside a house on a bedroom door or whatever it is in there. Turns out to be, looks like an office. He's managed to get in. And he starts looking at the computer, looking for passwords and things. And then suddenly he notices there's somebody tied up in a chair in there. It's a lady tied up, bound and gagged. And he manages to take the gag off. It's like a special kind of gag that requires real extra strength to get it off, I guess. It's not just like a towel in the mouth or something. This guy's really sophisticated. He's got her bound in the chair, and so the kid suddenly, this thief, suddenly starts to have some compassion and show some conscience. And he wants to help the lady. And he starts to try to get her out. But he only has so many minutes left, because the guy's going to come out of the restaurant pretty soon. And he can't get her off out of the chair which she's bound into. There's special clamps and everything. And then she warns him. She says, "Hey, he can look from wherever he is on his remote device. If the lights go on, that means he's viewing me with his phone." So he says, "Okay, I'll go down and see if I can get some tools from the garage and to cut it open." He puts the gag back on her, and as he leaves, the lights go on, and the guy's checking in to see if she's still there and everything's normal. He comes back about ready to with big pliers he finds in the garage, and he's going to try to get her loose, and he sees the light on, and he knows that he's watching. The car owner is watching on his phone. So he panics and he leaves, and he gets back to the restaurant almost too late. The guy was getting suspicious, waiting out there for his car. And that's where the story starts from a whole new angle. You're not watching two thieves anymore. The one in the house, he says he's repenting. He's never going to steal again. He's converted. The other ones, well, he doesn't know what to do. He's just kind of going along. But and the kid who went to the house, he's intent on trying to do something about the lady. He wants to call the police. He doesn't care if he gets busted for robbing the house or trying to. And the other one's scared. He doesn't want to go to prison, so he backs out. So the guy's all on his own. But they go back together to the house and break in again. After the guy, well, first they go back and watch the guy. He's at his house. The guy's getting suspicious because he notices some things wrong, a few things out of place. You know, and this he knows that somebody's been in his house. He doesn't know who yet. The kids are watching the house to see what he does. They haven't called the police yet. So a couple hours after the restaurant closes, they're sitting in his Volkswagen hatchback. They see the guy leave, so they go back in the house through the window, back up to that same room where the lady was. Lo and behold, the lock on the door is gone, the chair is gone, the lady's gone. Everything looks different. It's like how somehow he transformed it in a matter of an hour or so. And they called the police again. The police came actually and talked to the guy, and I'm getting things out of order now, but anyways, the whole rest of the movie is about the one kid intent on saving the lady from death or whatever. So he goes to the police in person. First time he called anonymously. They checked it out but didn't see anything. They left. Second, he goes back, talks to the detective, confesses he was robbing the house. The detective goes and checks it out. Doesn't really believe the kid because the kid doesn't have much credibility given his criminal record. The detective not very suspicious. He's doubtful that the kid's being truthful, so he doesn't really do much of an investigation. He talks to the guy and then he leaves, not believing a word the kid said. Meanwhile, the kid is going crazy. His conscience is killing him. He wants to do something. And then that's the rest of the story, tracing down this rich guy who turns out to be actually a mass murderer. He gets the FBI involved, and he does the right thing. So he's actually a bad Samaritan turned into a good Samaritan. He does the right thing. And that's a good lesson. There's actually a sermon in that. So-called bad people can do good things, and we should not just say, hey, this guy's got a criminal record, nothing he says or does can be good. He's got a scarlet A on his head, so to speak, for the rest of his life. You got to give people a chance. And by the way, it's not just the so-called good people giving the bad person a chance. It's that society creates good and bad people. Even the good people, the so-called good people, however, are just created in such ways by society because of their position, their wealth, their education. They're able to remain above the law because of what they've been given. I'm not saying all. Some make bad choices to do bad things, and it's not all criminals are just victims of their position in life that they have to make bad choices to survive. I mean, very few people rob others for actual survival. You can survive on what's given to you by, government, social services, and things like that. So most crime is done because of personal choices, but at the same time, those people who are so-called good, remember Jesus even said, why do you call me good? There's no one good but God. So even Jesus rejected that. So we create good and bad, and a lot of it is contrary to what God has in mind. God might not see good and bad the way we see it when we get to the pearly gates. So don't fall into that trap, whether you're good, you're so-called good, or whether you're so-called bad. Don't accept that. That you'll be saved by that, or damned by that, one way or the other. And I guess that's the best that comes from this movie. It's a good movie for that lesson that it teaches, how things can change people. So let's just pray and keep in mind as Christians to give everybody a second, a third, fourth, fifth. How many chances? 7 times 77, right? Just as we want those chances for ourselves as well. Hear our prayer, Lord, in the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Amen.